if everything you needed, all the healing, the clarity, the empowerment was already within you, just waiting to be unlocked? Welcome to Michelle's Healing Haven podcast. Here is a space where your intuition is going to take the lead. Your transformation, let it begin. Here, dissolve those fears into trust. And healing, well, it's going to become a way of life. Thank you for being here and joining me on this journey. Before we dive in, I want to let you know that additional resources and insights from today's episode are going to be available at my blog on michelleshealinghaven.com. Check it out before or after the podcast. I will always try to put additional resources that are helpful. They could be books, it could be meditations, or just some simple information and tidbits that are very helpful. You can also sign up for my newsletter there as well. Hello and welcome back to Michelle's Healing Haven. Today's episode 6, is going to be the second segment in the series for the chakras, the energy centers. Today's episode is going to go over the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th chakras. We're going to be talking a lot about confidence, love, and communication. So let's dive into this. So we first talked about the root chakra, which talks about security, which talks about protection and groundedness. We talked about the sacral, which is all about the emotional intensity and that inspired creative force. So now we're going to talk about the 3rd chakra, and that is the solar plexus. The solar plexus in Sanskrit is the Manipura, and the color for the solar plexus is yellow. It is located right above your belly button. The solar plexus gland that it is associated with is the pancreas. And the body parts which are managed by or in the solar plexus field are going to be the digestive system, the organs, your skin, the breath, the upper abdomen, your diaphragm, the middle of the spine, your small intestines, and parts of the kidneys and the adrenal glands. Something for medical purposes, if you have an imbalance in the solar plexus or the pancreas, one and the other will both be affected. So be mindful. If you are having an imbalance in the pancreas, your solar plexus could be causing it, or it will cause issues with the solar plexus itself. Now, in the first episode dealing with the chakras, there is an exercise for breathing through the left nostril for the sacral. Well, for the solar balancing of the solar, you want to use the breathing through the right nostril. It's basically the same exercise, which I will list in the blog, but it's opposite. Every once in a while, doing both of them or alternating is going to help balance those two chakras. Since this is dealing with the digestive area, a lot of the health issues of the 3rd chakra are going to tie into the digestive system. This includes diabetes, pancreatitis, kidney and adrenal imbalances, low blood pressure, certain colon diseases, stomach ulcers, certain food disorders, hepatitis, heartburn, chronic fatigue, and muscle disorders. Psychologically, the solar plexus is the powerhouse of personal power. Your beliefs and emotions related to the ego reside here. This is where we determine our sense of value, our ability to carry out our decisions, and we have to find what this space means to us over time. Because at first, we will make decisions based on karma or the consequences of our past or how things have turned out before. Blockages in the solar plexus when dealing with our psychological aspects. They're going to come through as pride, anger, fear, victimization. This is also the place where we become too sensitive to criticism, or conversely, we just are very critical of others. Also, this is the center of emotional manipulation, whether it is manipulating somebody else or somebody else manipulating us. It's important to realize how easy it can be to manipulate others or ideas. When you continue down that path, you will be allowing yourself to be taken control of by control issues. And it's a false sense of security. So that's going to start in the solar plexus. Now, when comparing to the root, which is the fear and stability, that's of your physical safety net. But when you start pulling the power and trying to have power over others, that is done at the solar plexus. The importance of the solar plexus is developing your personal beliefs. You have beliefs, even if you don't know what they are consciously, you've unconsciously made them. If we ignore the patterns that we are living in and we tell ourselves we can't get out of them, we are going to feel drained and more lethargic. This is also the place that digests our ideas, okay? This is where working with the third eye and the solar plexus goes hand in hand. And we will talk about that when we get to the third eye, because that is the sixth chakra. That will not be today. There are two archetypes, one more positive and one more negative, of the strong solar plexus. The positive archetype is that of the warrior. This archetype provides a person with the source of power that can be used for achieving worthy causes and making a difference. Somebody who stands up for a cause, inspires others. The not so positive archetype of the solar plexus has two sides to it. The archetype is that of the servant. Oftentimes, the downfall of the servant is they help others to the exclusion of themselves. They are selfless and they will never choose themselves in a scenario. They put themselves last. The servant energy can be used beneficially. So if you resonate with being the servant, it's finding a balance where you do not exclude yourself. You still put yourself first and find a way to give back. Even if you're not the leader of a movement, you can still be of service, but you are not losing yourself as the servant. The servant here, this archetype, has no identity. That's the downfall. So be mindful. If you see yourself as that servant and you're like, maybe I don't want to be the leader, maybe I don't want to be the person standing on the stage, that doesn't mean you can't help or empower others or be empowered to a higher level of service. It doesn't have to be a self-sacrificing archetype. Oftentimes, those who are critical thinkers are going to be in the solar plexus area. This could be somebody who's a great organizer, somebody who's an administrator. Your spiritual path will include working mindfully with knowledge and structure processes. So if you are somebody who likes writing books, being very analytical, this is something that is, the power of this is in the solar plexus. Now let's talk about some things that make the solar plexus deficient and maybe over excess, okay? And remember, we all go through a lot of these things, okay? So be mindful that it's a state of being at a moment. This is how we transition, okay? And if you see something or hear something that you're like, oh, I'm still struggling through that, that's time for reflection. Small little changes make big effects when they ripple out, okay? So for the solar plexus, some of the more common ones, you have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, contracted energy, unhappiness with one's life situation, the ability to be easily manipulated, and poor self-discipline or poor digestion. You have the victim mentality, unreliability, and blaming attitude. When it's in excess, it is the opposite. You are the person that is the controlling person. You are the dominating person. You need to be right. You have the ability to manipulate others and you use it to your advantage. The ego is very loud, but there's a very competitiveness to this energy. So when it's balanced, you find out how to cooperate with others better, how to insert your opinion better, and how to understand others better. It's a better listening dynamic as well. It shows a different level of wisdom and intelligence, and they're intertwined, okay? It's very productive energy. Physical health is usually pretty balanced. Because the solar plexus is in the center of the body, and it's dealing with digestion, and we all have to survive with food. That is one area that has to have some sort of balance. Otherwise, your body is going to show it. You are going to see physical symptoms more than some of the other areas. The other part that's really, really crucial here is in a balanced solar plexus, your work will feel balanced. It's a different level of the ability to put in enough power, confidence, and allow yourself to be balanced. And I know we all at some point, at some working scenario, we're on one side of the fence, not very balanced. So if you don't feel like you are the most balanced, check out and see where could I get more balance at work. Now, there are many reasons down there. Maybe you need a different job. Maybe you need a different workplace environment, or maybe there's something within you that you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm the person who needs to adjust. We can all grow in different ways. And again, the best exercise that I have here is going to be the right nostril breathing to help reset some of the solar plexus. I will include that in the blog. The solar plexus element is fire. Digestion is considered fire. Energy, fire. When you focus on the solar plexus, the intuitive or psychic abilities that shine, the most common one is going to be claircognizance, pyrokinesis, and mental empathy. Claircognizance is clear knowing something for just because you know it, and there's no rhyme or reason how. Mental empathy is feeling, it's that empath feeling, it's feeling somebody else's mental state. Pyrokinesis is setting fires with the mind. The solar plexus is extremely important when you're talking about confidence. If you do not feel the most confident, this is going to be a center that's going to take some time to work through. And I say that because, again, this is the center of beliefs. And when you have conflicting beliefs, your body can feel that. When you sit with yourself in silence and you are able to hear, claircognizance, for example, is the just knowing. If you sit for 20 minutes a day in dead silence, you're going to be able to hear things, get random ideas. They're going to guide you forward. The solar plexus is the powerhouse for getting this information. It is very important to spend time on the solar plexus until you feel confident enough in your decision making. When you have a decision and you sit there and you take days, hours, minutes to make your decision, your body already knows the one you want to make. Your intuition's already spoken. You can go back to the intuition episode. However, your solar plexus is the part that you've got to go see why in those beliefs you couldn't feel like you could make the decision in the moment. Your intuition already knows, and you will know how much in alignment you are with yourself and in your solar plexus when you are making decisions. If you want to become a better decision maker, the solar plexus is going to help you get there. If you want to get better at trusting the channeled messages that you get from the divine, whether you use tarot, oracle, or any other means of divination, you will have to trust the information that's coming through. It starts in the solar plexus. So the fourth chakra is the heart chakra. In Sanskrit is the anahata. I just finished speaking about the solar plexus and the decision making. The heart chakra is going to give you an elevated ability to make better decisions that are beyond the lessons you've learned. The confidence to go out into the unknown, the confidence to give love in situations that you might not understand. It allows you to see the world in a different light. The catch is you need to be able to actually make the decision. Working through the root, you work past a lot of the fear. Solar, you get the extra confidence. And when you get to the heart chakra, you get to use your heart to lead the way. The heart chakra is very tied to the root chakra. Overcoming fear and giving love to fear is going to be a very common concept when you are studying the heart chakra. The heart chakra itself, you're able to transcend the temptation to be violent. Everything begins and ends in love. It's a very divine love energy. The sexual love energy is going to be in the sacral, but the divine love energy is going to be in that heart space. So to somebody who has gone through a heartbreak, yes, you're probably going to feel it in both the sacral and the heart space. Now, the physical gland for the heart chakra is actually the heart and the thymus gland. The body parts that it manages are going to be the heart, the circulatory system, your blood, your lungs, the rib cage, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, and the diaphragm and esophagus. And I know the diaphragm is also part of the solar plexus. Now, I am not going to dive into this, but the arms and hands, in a lot of Eastern cultures, they have specific smaller chakras for the arms and the hands. I will not be diving into that. If you are pulled to do that, they do exist. But for our purposes, the arms and the hands are going to be tied to the heart chakra. The heart chakra has two colors. You have green, and the secondary color is pink. The secondary color is the higher heart chakra. The pink symbolizes the higher heart chakra, and in some cultures, they observe that chakra as a spiritual center specifically. I personally do put it in my chakra list, okay? And I observe it in a different way as well. Now, when you are looking at the heart chakra, I said it had two different glands. And some cultures go with the heart, the other go with the thymus. The thymus lines up with that being the higher heart chakra. And from the studies that I've studied, both of them are very important to the body. For example, when I am doing a Reiki session, I go by all the chakras. I don't always do the higher heart chakra, but I know if I'm seeing pink, channeling pink, or pulled to that part of the body, I know that that needs some attention. The higher heart chakra is a very spiritual place. It's your spiritual center. So if I'm doing Reiki on somebody who's a medium or does a lot of spiritual work, that makes sense. If I have somebody who's very new to spirituality, usually the higher heart chakra will not come out as loud because they are still working through other basic things in the main chakra systems. Now, what I will acknowledge from all the studies that I've read about, both the heart and the thymus have to be in sync. They have to be aligned, or if one is off, the other is affected. And it breaks down to the love of the self. The heart chakra is where self-love is born, nurtured, and grows. Some of the related illnesses due to the heart chakra being misaligned are going to be diseases of the heart, the lung, the breasts, the pericardium, and the ribs. This includes heart disease. This includes asthma, cancers, and pneumonia. What I will say is a lot of the time when people are having issues breathing, they assume it's the throat chakra. It is not usually the throat chakra. Not that the throat chakra will not be involved. That's the fifth chakra, the one after this. But it usually originates in the heart chakra. Oftentimes, grief is one of the main destabilizers in the heart chakra. And sacrificing the self, the lack of self-worth, self-care, that starts usually in the heart chakra. Now, I do have an exercise here that I will put in the blog that has to do with creating more peace instead of fear. The heart chakra reacts to fear directly. When you're afraid, your heart starts racing, okay? They are one and tied the same. If you are somebody who has a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, you could have also a lot of heart issues. Working through the root, the fear, is going to help a lot, okay? So I will include a mantra creating exercise for the heart chakra. It'll also help with the root chakra. And if you already listened to the root chakra episode, phenomenal. If you haven't, go check it out. But when you start making a plan and changing little things, so much exponential growth here. Interesting part are the archetypes of the heart. Well, you have the lover, and that's the more positive one. It's emotions, the feelings, the idealism, the sensuality. You have joy in the mysteriousness of every day, all right? Everybody can, when you pull the lover's card in tarot, like, oh, it's a love connection. It's that, it's that unconditional love, that romanticized bond, right? On the not so positive, we find the actor. This is somebody who exaggerates the drama of life. They could be saying false stories, seeking attention through traumatic experiences. The actor's aspect of the heart chakra, it's like they use their passion for telling their stories and wisdom through myth and legend and story, but they're not actually living in it. They're creating something false so they can control it, but they are not living in it. Usually, probably out of fear. If you are heart chakra based, you're going to be able to understand people that are in connections and why it's not working. You're going to be somebody who values love and happiness at the core when it comes to your values. You might also have the tendency to want to fix other people's relationships. Be mindful that if that is not your place, that you figure out a plan of maybe that's a venture you want to make a business, right? Now, when your heart chakra is deficient or in excess, the deficiency, the inability to forgive, the feeling of loneliness, having a lack of empathy, a lack of self-love, living in apathy, just being indifferent, or withdrawing and becoming aimless. When it is over in excess, it's a very jealous, codependent energy. You want to be the martyr. You want to basically get all the attention. The ego is very loud. You're very self-centered. You want to create something you can control. When the fourth chakra is balanced, you have a sense of wholeness. You are able to live in an energy of being love-centered, okay? You will have very strong empathy skills, compassion skills, friendliness skills, motivational skills, nurturing skills, and the ability to accept yourself and others as they are. 555 on my timer. We're actually on the clock. I don't normally call out times, but why not? 5s are all about change. 5s are all about growth. 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 I'm going to tell you, when your fourth chakra, the heart chakra, is balanced, you accept change. And it's a very loving energy. Change is for growth, not for destruction. The heart chakra, the main component is air. It is air. So when we're thinking about all of the elements, the root was the element of earth. The sacral was the element of water. The solar plexus was the element of fire. The heart chakra is the element of air. The second block in the Kundalini rising in the body, which I went over in the first episode on the chakras, is located at the heart space, in that heart chakra. In order to pass this granthi, or this knot, one has to be able to accept the responsibility of serving others with devotion and love, while releasing the desire to focus on our self-identity. This is the ability, literally, to be of self-service and unconditional love. There is nothing that we are trying to gain except be ourselves and help. Now, back to the heart chakra itself. Some of the contemporary intuitive or psychic abilities are going to be astral projection, which is the out-of-body travel, palmistry, reading palms, clear empathy, sensing others' emotions, energetic healing, faith healing, and hypnosis. With all of those spiritual gifts and abilities, the moving of the Kundalini energy enhances these. So be mindful. The more that you work and allowing energy in your body to free up, flow freely, and align with you, the higher version of you, you're going to be able to unlock a lot more abilities. And when you focus on the ability to have confidence and trust yourself with them, a lot more will come through. The last bit I will say about the heart chakra: when you are dreaming your entire world into being and having divine desires and dreams and goals, the heart chakra plays a really big part in this. The heart chakra is at the center of all of the other chakras. We have the higher and the lower. The heart is in the middle. It's a balance. Allow yourself, when you meditate, when you dream, allow yourself to give that focus to the heart chakra. If you're familiar with meditations, a lot of them will have you focus on the white light coming from the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the center. And when you are able to find that unconditional divine love in the center, that radiates outward. The dreams you get from that center are going to be most aligned with where you want to go. It's like your soul's center. So give yourself enough time with that heart chakra. Now, I will say the things that block the heart chakra the most: the inability or unwillingness to let go and forgive, and grief. And both of those things take time. Not just somebody sitting and waiting on a couch, no, but they take time to go to the root of what they can work through. And sometimes we aren't ready to look at whatever it is. So allow yourself to move at your own pace, but know that there is a way to process through whatever you are going through. Focus on the small thing that you can do. And now we are on the fifth chakra. This is the last chakra we're going to talk about today. This is the throat chakra. Now, the Vishuddha, the throat chakra, is what it sounds like. It's talking, communication. So let's take a deeper dive at this. The driving force in the throat chakra that we try to heal is guilt. Now, I know on the first chakra episode, I went over like the overview challenge of the chakra. This one is guilt, and guilt can be a very low vibration when it's taken by itself, if you're always living in guilt. But this allows you to communicate, to acknowledge, and move forward from a place of allowing the guilt to be processed and let go of. Bright blue would be the color of this chakra, and it is associated with the thyroid. The throat chakra manages our neck, ear, jaws, teeth, the mouth, the trachea, the vocal cords, the upper shoulders as well. So, for example, if your energy in your arms are not flowing through your shoulders, there could be something in the throat chakra that is allowing the energy to build up. So shoulders are actually quite important. If you have heavy shoulders all the time, it could be due to a lack of communication. Now, let's talk about health conditions related to the throat chakra being out of sorts. You have asthma, bronchitis, ulcers, thyroid dysfunctions, sore throat, laryngitis, ear infections, hearing issues, mouth problems, teeth and gum issues, tinnitus, tonsillitis, TMJ, and any type of hay fever. They also have upper arm pain. And the reason of that is because of the shoulders. Again, what I just said with the shoulders being blocked. Now, some of these conditions are going to be related to other chakras. For example, asthma ties into the heart chakra and the throat chakra. I will give an example. If you are grieving and you're keeping in all of the information, and you're not communicating to anybody that you're grieving, and you're trying to grieve alone, and you're not speaking at all, not writing, not having any outlet, the throat chakra and the heart chakra will both be affected in that, like asthma, bronchitis will do that. So just be mindful. There are some that will overlap. Teeth is also of the root chakra. You had the dreams of teeth falling out. That's usually has to do with fear from the root chakra, not necessarily the throat chakra, but it could if you're afraid to speak. With the throat chakra, we deal with certain psychological issues, okay? Faith, decision-making, how to personally express ourselves, and how to creatively express ourselves vocally. We either choose to vocalize or we choose not to, as well as how we choose to share what we feel and what we express. Lies and deceit are going to be something that will trigger some of the illnesses that I stated before. It also can lead to repressed anger, evasiveness, avoidance, silence. Some of the limiting beliefs are thinking we can never get what we want, thinking we are not supposed to speak up for ourselves. We also could have a lack of self-knowledge, gossiping without knowing, or just gossiping in general, but guessing what everybody's thinking, criticizing self or others for not being perfect. One of the hardest things that the throat chakra teaches us is that we get to look at our past selves in an acceptance and face our past behavior, our past karma, and actually forgive ourselves and release the guilt. That is how you move forward from this chakra and allow it to grow. When you start embracing some of these lessons, your mind is not moving out of guilt. The throat chakra allows us to communicate better, to grow. When we start allowing ourselves to look at some of the past patterns and communicate better, we can move forward and feel more balanced. The fifth chakra is all about words, communication. This is the chakra that allows you to change your outlook on life energetically with words. Affirmations, manifestations, speaking your world into existence. This is where pessimistic energy gets turned into the courageous, optimistic, positive, influencing energy. This is a very important part here. And when you start focusing on more knowledge about yourself, how you were in the past, where you want to go in the future, words are very powerful. And this center is the center of words, what you tell yourself, what you tell other people. And it all originates from everything that has come before you. The associated archetypes with the throat chakra are going to be the communicator and the silent child. So the communicator is the person who's able to use all forms of communication to gather and disperse information. So this is going to be somebody who's really good at finding a balance, a compromise, understanding, okay, and being able to connect people that might be really hard to connect to. It's getting a group of people that may not even be like-minded, but being able to show the communication and the validity of both sides. On the other side, you have the silent child. This archetype, it's going to resist the communicating of truth, and it's going to be a suppressed energy, emotions, needs, and there's an unimportance energy of the self that they need to keep quiet. The silent child, when they grow, understands when to speak or when not to speak and can grow out of this and find more balance. So there is growth out of it, but it's allowing the suppression of emotional wants, needs, allowing and reflecting and growing and realizing the self-worth aspect here and allowing yourself to grow. Now, if you are somebody who is a throat chakra centered person, you have music, reading, speaking, anything, as long as it's verbal. So anything that you do that's verbal, communication centered. Maybe you learn by speaking aloud. Also, when you are a channeler, a messenger, okay, like I do tarot, I do coaching, I communicate, right? That is something that you have the ability to do. All right, so let's say some excesses and deficiencies of the fifth chakra. Well, fear of speaking, the inability or fear of expressing one's truth, trying to be a perfectionist. Then we have the thyroid itself being underactive, and then grinding of the teeth. Now, grinding of the teeth also sticks with the root, and it's fear, right? But fear of communication. An over-excess leads to somebody talking too much, gossiping, stuttering, just overall being loud, an overactive thyroid, a lack of consideration for other people's thoughts, feelings, and excuses. And another one is actually compulsive behaviors such as overeating. Now, when somebody's throat chakra is balanced, they are creative and expressive. They are a positive communicator. They listen consciously. And they also experience a sense of contentment with what they are doing. You can tell that they are content in where they are. And you can hear it because their authentic voice resounds this. The element of the throat chakra is ether. This is a combination of all of the other elements, but it does not have color, smell, taste, touch, or form. Ether is very high vibrational, and it is considered a spiritual energy. I'm not going to delve too far into this. However, in the mouth specifically, in the throat chakra, there are many meridian points at the roof of the mouth that are extremely important. And I'm going to include a meditation in here that allows you to open up that spiritual essence a little bit. And it's something that's very, very poignant in a lot of cultures. So I will include that. But it's opening that channel and being able to allow the energy to flow in a different way when it comes to the ether. So I will include that. It's not a very common exercise, but it is It's called the Kekari Mudra. So we will add that into the blog. Now, what are some of the spiritual gifts related to this? Okay, so there's a lot to this one. It's communication. So one, we have mediumship, communication, automatic writing, communication, bibliomancy. Guess what? That's communication, interpreting passages from a book, channeling, regular channeling, just getting messages, clairaudience, hearing a psychic message. That was funny. I was recording this. So clairaudience is hearing psychic messages, okay? And I had a cat meow, so okay. Hypnosis, telepathy, hearing another person's thoughts, okay? And xenoglossy is the ability to speak a language that you don't know. And there are other abilities that are enhanced, like claircognizance, from other chakras that you have already worked on. The throat chakra is very powerful when you work on it. Speaking authenticity, speaking truth, it's going to be one of your biggest tools for manifestation, for the creation of the universe you're trying to have. Words are powerful. Speaking words authentically and true to you are even more powerful. You want to put that energy out into the universe. If you have not listened, manifestation is the 3rd episode, but 1 is energy, 2 is the intuition, but the 3rd is manifestation. And the more that you work on your energy centers, clearing out some of these blockages that we all clear out, you're going to be able to bring more value to yourself, more love to yourself, but you're also going to be able to speak more into existence for yourself. And again, that's from the throat chakra. So today's oracle message, I am going to pull from my angel numbers. We're going to get 2 or 3. Let's see what the collective here needs to know. Let's see, what does the collective here need to know? What is important? I love these cards. There's 100 different ones. So it's great when they're precise. All right, what do we have? Okay, well, we got 1, number 487. Oh, we've got 3. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so we have imagine, listen, and patterns. I'm gonna actually read this. Imagine, 487. Contemplate what will be. You are invited to use your inherent skills of creation. Your angels ask you to practice visualization. Sit in meditation for 5 minutes. And allow yourself to visualize your daily world as if what you want has already happened. Feel your feelings fully. See the colors of life in this vividly, and allow yourself to wonder at this brand new world. 251. Listen. Be open to hearing good advice. When you hear good advice, you'll hear it more than once and from multiple sources. So anything in this podcast, if it is not the first time you've heard it, take extra heed. Right now, be alert. Your angels are giving you a message, channeling it through the people and places around you. Listen carefully today to all patterns and signs as they are messages, and it's up to you to find the common link. There is good advice to be uncovered. That was number 251. Now we have number 201, patterns. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And I am getting a channeling. How you allow friends to treat you is how you'll get treated in connections and work, and how you treat yourself. Our inner world is a copy replica of our outer world. So what are you allowing yourself to give less than on and is affecting something else? Your angels ask you that you take a closer look at your patterns of behavior. Consider how they play a role in the bigger picture. What are the small things you do in your daily life that create bigger ripples in your world? Write down one way in which you feel dissatisfied with life. Reflect on how that example may show up as a pattern in other places in your life. once you start pausing, even for 15 to 20 minutes a day, listening. The throat chakra helps with listening, by the way. That's your ears. But that's also your intuitive abilities start to sharpen. Clairaudience starts to sharpen. You get to hear your higher inner self. Allow yourself to listen. I love how listen is on here. It's imagine, listen, and the patterns. You are breaking patterns right now, starting better patterns, learning how to listen to yourself. And through all of this imagine energy, you are creating bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't stop. This is not a time for stopping. Yes, you're allowed to pause, but there is always some growth that's going to gift you exponentially something that you wanted. Keep going. Thank you for joining me for Michelle's Healing Haven podcast. Today's episode, we talked about the solar plexus, the heart chakra, as well as the throat chakra. If you are looking for a more personalized approach, or you've tried some things and you're not really sure you're going in the right direction, I do offer mentorship. I have 12 sessions or 24 sessions. Sometimes we need a little bit more to get over, but it is one-on-one and it is personalized. You can check out the link in the box below, or you can go to my beautiful website, michelleshealinghaven.com. Also, I do have a free intuition guide on the website if you're interested in that as well. When you slow down and take the time for your body, listening to the world around you, focusing on you because you deserve it, you are going to grow exponentially inside and outside. Allow yourself to keep going. Next episode, we are going to talk about the last two chakras, which are the third eye and the crown, as well as we have some bonus material. So I hope that you guys all have a fantastic day, week, month, year, and I hope to see you guys back soon. Love, light, and positive vibes.